people start coming in. We had a lot of RSVPs, so we should have a full house tonight, which is always the case with you, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, that's good, right? And it's a beautiful Monday. You know what I mean? Evening. So I'm like, oh boy, it's really nice out. I don't know who's at. Whatever people are getting on are certainly interested in making money, right?
Absolutely, because if not, they'd be outside playing right now.
Yep, exactly.
For sure, yeah. So it looks like the room is definitely filling up. We're already at a couple people. We got about 10 people in here with us so far. So guys, just to give you a little bit of an introduction, we'll still wait another minute or two, allow some more people to join us so that they could be with us in our adventures and learning about more about real estate and self-help and being able to just get our mindsets right. So in the meantime, I just want to let everybody know this is an interactive event, which means that we love questions. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know what, is working for you, what's not working for you. Also in this time, so what I want to talk about is the chat box. Everyone who's new to Zoom, have not been with us before, if you go to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little chat box. You could start either writing to other people in the group, letting them know what you do, what you're looking for, who maybe you're looking to meet. And if you have questions for us as the panelists, feel free to put it there as well. Just be in mind when you do chat, there is an option. You could choose either all panelists or you could choose to send it to attendees as well. So if you're asking a question to us, by all means, click the panelist. If you are looking to network and have a bunch of people see what you're saying, make sure you check off the attendees as well. There's also a Q&A box and a raise your hand. So if you want to voice yourself and maybe let us know a little bit of what you're thinking and what questions are on your mind, raise your hand. We'll definitely call on you and allow you to talk more. So that brings that. So we'll wait a couple more minutes, guys. Like I said, feel free to network, use the chat box. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what you're looking to do and who you're looking for and how they could help you.
Just gotta, okay, got it. Okay, got it.
And before we start, I want to talk a little bit, Joe, about your book that you released. So my father Martin was just showing the book, and if you don't mind, please tell us a little bit about what you like, what you read so far. I saw you had a lot of notes, so just tell us a little bit what to expect.
So everyone, Joe Florentine and his daughter wrote a book, The Foundation of a Successful Life. I read a lot of books from Grant Cardone to Jeb Blunt to Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, and everything else. Joe has everybody's combined comments, thoughts, and process. He put it all into one book. And it's about, like he said, like exactly what the topic says, is building a successful life, coming up with realistic goals, coming up with realistic, timeline, affirmations, visualizations, so everybody could be in that positive thoughts. And everybody gets scared like, oh, I'm not going to sit there and say 20 times I'm a good person. But when you do that, that helps you become what you say you are, and what you read and what you affirm and what you visualize yourself is what you're going to become. So that's what Joe's book is all about. And one of the things that he writes in there is highlighting the high points so you can come back to it. And that's exactly what I do throughout all the books that I read. I highlight all the key points, to go back to it, remember it. And just my process is I don't even go to my second book until I read that first book 2 or 3 times, go over the highlighting issues. So it's like kind of remembered in my brain. So it is a very good book. I recommend everybody buying it, whether it's on Amazon or through Joe, to create your success. It doesn't have to be real estate, but just to, change your lifestyle, change your thought process, change your mood, be more of a happier person is what it's all about.
Absolutely. It's not often that you meet people that in their own head, they're always saying to themselves good things. So it's important for us to vocalize that, say it out loud. I'm sure there's a lot of new things you're going to learn in there. And I'm excited for myself actually as well. I'm going to start reading it this weekend. So Tom, we see here, he's in Long Island. He has a couple of duplexes in Syracuse, and he's looking to acquire more properties outside New York. So, interesting. He doesn't want to stay in New York, but guys, keep that in mind. Reach out if you're maybe a wholesaler, properties. This is the time to network and use the chat box. But without any further ado, I do want to start give Joe a little bit of an introduction. Joe, I mean, we've been doing a lot of events together, whether in person or a webinar lately. You've been giving over a lot of education, and we definitely appreciate you and love having you here. So thank you so much again for being with us.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. It's always fun.
Absolutely. It definitely is.
I just want to add something that Joe writes in his book, and I'm sure he's going to say that it's about when somebody becomes successful, how do you get to the next step? And it's by sharing. It's all it is about sharing and helping. And how do you become successful? Which again, from the first step to the second stage to whatever stage it is, sharing your thoughts, sharing your expertise and all that. And that's what it's all about. And that's something else that Joe mentions. And that's what he's here to do, everybody, is to share his success, what made him successful. By all means, there are no shortcuts. You're going to make mistakes. To me, I take that word mistake out. To me, it's a learning curve, because you're going to make 10 mistakes to get to your goal. You're going to make 10 mistakes to become that successful. There is no one-step process to becoming a successful person or a successful businessman. So mistakes, learning curves, educational resources are going to be there for you, so you don't make that same decision again. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Fail fast and add it to your process, because you're gonna have to fail, so you might as well do it and know that it's part of the process. So guys, without any further ado, I want to start getting into the questions. We're all talking, there's a lot going on right now in the world. I'm sure everyone is ready on this, knows, and everyone's has their views, but of course we understand we're here only because we want to understand how to navigate through this market. How does this work for me as a real estate investor? Is this to my benefit? Is this to my disadvantage? And we want to break this down and go into detail. We've done this since COVID. We're going to do this again, and we're going to keep doing this because the market is never going to stay the same. And it's important to keep analyzing where you're at, what's going on, and how it's going to affect you. So Joe, let's go into, the first topic, the one that everyone's waiting to hear. The coronavirus obviously still going on. It's surging in a lot of other places that, was not expected. There's protests, there's unstable stock markets, there's political turmoil where everything's happening in a sense of political move just because they're trying to, get their own stance. And a lot of it's negative. If you're listening to the news, there's probably not one positive thing. And that's a common thing. No matter what day you listen to the news, there's never going to be positive. But there's a lot of negativity going out there. So what advice would you give to some people, whether they're investing in real estate and also for their own sake and peace of mind? How could they cope with all this and come to terms and just feel normal about themselves?
Got you. Good, very good question. And it's hard. It's hard for all of us. I mean, this is mostly the greater New York area, I think, on the call here. And we've been locked down for getting on 4 months now. So the thing is, it's either every conversation that goes on now, every bit of news, conversation you have with somebody else always seems to be negative. You're focused on coronavirus, you're focused on protest, you're focused on all those things. And my advice to you really is don't get caught up in it. You can spend your entire day worrying about, talking about all of those negative things that are going on, the political turmoil, the constant political fights. I mean, I don't care what side you're on. It really doesn't matter. What really matters is what is you and you alone and what you're doing at this point. It doesn't matter who wins the next election. Everybody's got their favorite. Everybody wants this and that and the other thing. And it's a constant barrage of things. But I wanted to give you an example of what went on to show you that doesn't matter. Now, I went from zero real estate assets, nothing, didn't even own my own home at one point, to over $60 million worth of real estate in 6 years. I did that all under the Obama administration. My son, Joey, who took over the business, now has taken that $60 million in transactions to now over $100 million. And that's been done under the Trump administration. So it doesn't matter all of the political infight. If you're here and you want to make money in real estate, what you need to be focused on is you and getting things done focused on you, your family, and as I like to call it, your own personal economy, right? Don't worry about all the other things that are going on. While everybody in the world is looking this way, and here's some of the advantages now. Everybody in the world is looking this way. They're looking at the problem, talking about the problems all day long. You look this way and start looking for solutions and how this is going to benefit you. And you start to look in that direction, not pay attention over here. You're going to have a major advantage over everybody else who's spending their whole day worrying about those things. You know, I give you an example. A good friend of mine, matter of fact, the guy I grew up with, I was the best man at his wedding. All right. Here's what, during the coronavirus, my daughter Erica, who published the book with me, who wrote the book with me, sends me this. I guess this post on Facebook or something. This is what he has to say. Now, this is a good friend of mine. Doesn't make him a bad guy, but to tell you what people's heads are. He posts on Facebook, "Nothing is like claiming your weekly unemployment benefits while sitting on the beach. It's the American way." That's what he posts. And I'd like to think that everybody on this call is thinking a little bit different. I mean, you know, we've got 4th of July coming up now. You know, how many people died, sacrificed, and everything else so that we could wake up tomorrow morning, say whatever we want, do whatever we want within the confines of the law, and really, and be anything that we want. And we have a major advantage. And if you'll just take your mind out of the negativity and over to something positive and start to look for the benefits in there, you're going to be eons ahead of everybody else right out of the gate. All right. So
what you're saying is everybody creates their own economy. It's not the economy outside, it's the economy inside your mind and around you. That's what's creating for them.
absolutely.
So, and I'll just say from an ex-retailer also, I've been through the 9/11, and even before that, 1992, we had an economic downturn when I was in retail. And my father always said to me also, don't worry about the economy. Don't worry about your competition. Focus on what I could do better in my business to bring in more business. And right now, in any business you're in, it's all about being creative and a solution-based and not worrying about the outside economics. Yes, there's always going to be issues, whether a good economy, bad president, good president, but it's all about up to the individual to create his own wealth.
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. I mean, and there's a lot of the benefits and opportunity coming up here.
Right.
So I'll tell you guys a couple of quick stories of what's gone on in my business in the last couple of months as it relates to the real estate. I'm basically retired at this point. My son runs our business, but prior to the coronavirus, and I'm going to get into this when we talk about starting the formula for getting deals done. You're out there making offers on various properties. This is particularly a self-storage property, which happens to be my favorite asset class. Making offers. No, they decline. A month ago, we get a call. Oh, listen, the seller's panicky over the coronavirus and all the problems and the instability and everything else. He'll take your offer. They saved about $400,000 or $500,000 on the price because you had a panicky seller. You know, so you also had, I had my youngest daughter who wanted to go out and buy a house. I started to go out house shopping with her during the coronavirus, and I taught her, make an offer. We make an offer on everything we see that we like. You just make the offer for what fits for us. She wound up buying a house. We got a good deal for her house. But in the meantime, there was a beautiful piece of property on a river down here at the Jersey Shore. Beautiful, that I put an offer in for her thinking we'd do a subdivision and she could wind up with a lot. 2 months later, I get a call last week. Oh, hey, listen, you still want to buy that property? We'll take your offer. So, I mean, there's a gain of probably $500,000 on those. So there's an advantage going on here. Psychologically, sellers are panicky. People are panicky. And if you're out in the streets and making offers, I don't care if it's a single family home or a big self-storage facility, you can do very, very well. You know, unfortunately, it seems there's lots of people who are going to wind up losing their homes and their properties over this for having the same attitude as my friend here that I just talked to you on the phone about. So, but if you start to change your thinking a little bit and start to look at it as an opportunity, the world's your oyster. I mean, Max, Marty, what are you guys seeing and with Auction.com? Where are you people getting their deals?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of action. And and I'm not just a lender, I'm also an investor. And when there's uncertainty is opportunity. Yep. Whenever the markets are down is an opportunity to be buying. Your success is always in the buying, never in the selling. It's always in the buying. You buy cheaper, you're going to get more profits. Like you said, people were scared to show their houses or maybe list it because they were afraid the value was going to be lower in March, April, and May when the pandemic was stronger. Now they're realizing that there's deferments or they can't come up with the money, or maybe they're what do you call the other one when
Orlo.
the forbearance? Now they can't come up with their money, whether it's 6 months or a year later. They're forced now to think about, really selling. And maybe now that the pandemic has hopefully slowed down, maybe they're going to get their realistic price or something close to it. And also I'm seeing is that people want to go, believe it or not, more to the suburbs. I'm from New York, Brooklyn, and, Manhattan, and, all the boroughs here. People are thinking, I'm hearing from my investors and clients that they're looking to go more to the suburbs and either downsize or, more of a neighborhood. There's going to be a recession. Would you happen to agree?
I agree with you 100%.
So with that recession is going to be, the markets are going to turn over. There's going to be an opportunity, and there's going to be an influx of property listings. I speak to my investors who buy from Hubzu, auction.com, and you're even going to laugh. Craigslist is like a 40 to 50% increase in property listings. And it used to be, people said, Craigslist, but those are people who can't afford that 6% realtor's fee and an off-market price. Those are deals to be done. Those are deals to be made.
No doubt. No doubt.
Absolutely. I was going to say, for sale by owners, you're going to see a lot more of them coming up, whether they're posters or they're online. Zillow, you can find them. They're all over the place. Whether, you do high level prospecting, you could look at Vulcan or one of these different dialers that have all these services for you. But one thing that honestly stood out, Joe, that you mentioned was, those of you who've ever been to Keller Williams, is probably going to sound really familiar, but change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Right?
Absolutely.
And that's huge, because right now there's a lot of people, like you said, that are thinking about, hey, look, I'm just collecting this unemployment. I could stay at home, and there's no money in the market for me, so I might as well collect this unemployment. That's why they have that attitude. They just don't see that ability for them to do something. And then you have the entrepreneurs like ourselves, or out here, everyone who's attending with us as well, who understands that there's opportunity, and they're trying to just find that opportunity. They're just trying to say, hey, how can I change the way that this looks to find that opportunity? And there is mass exodus is happening to New Jersey and other markets. What comes down, something else has to go up. So there are markets that are increasing. There's so much changing in the markets, and it's just really cool and interesting to see, as well as obviously good for us as investors, because whenever there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of room to make money. So, Joe, we're talking about creating deals, right? We're obviously in a time where they're trying to hold off on everything, whether they're refinancing, whether they're purchasing. It's a thought, right? Why not just wait? But you happen to be very into, hey, act now, do it now. Why do you believe that so much? Why is that?
In my opinion, it's really, tomorrow's dreams never come true unless you start acting on things today. And when I say acting on things today, this could be as simple as going out and starting to make some offers. We make, and I'll get into it in just a minute, but I told you 2 stories of offers that we just made and leave on the table. If we go to look at a property, anytime we go, unless there's something really weird about it, we make an offer based on the criteria that we would buy it at, not necessarily the asking price. All right. That's a little change of focus. They're asking this, they're asking no. What we would buy it at, and I'll get to it, it's a 70% of the end value. That's always where we go with it. So we make lots of offers, and maybe you got to make 8 or 9 or 10 offers to get your deal, but you get your deals done. So why I'm saying to act now is that everybody else is sitting by, they're afraid to make their moves on anything. This is the time where you're going to be able to start to pick up a lot of good deals right now. You don't have a lot of people, depending on where you are. So Marty had said a few minutes ago, the migration to the suburbs, and I'll get to that in a minute. That's a huge thing that's going on right now. So depending where you are, but if you're wherever your market is, start going out tomorrow and start making offers on properties. That's how it works. You set your own criteria, and I'll explain what our criteria is in a minute, but set your criteria that you'll buy it by and make the offer based on that. If you make 10 offers, right? If you made 10 offers and you get one and you have we need a 30% markup on this deal to make it work, it's much better than making 5 offers and working hard to make 15 or 20%. if that makes sense. You spend more time making the offers for bigger profits, less time working at the small deal where you're going to pick up 15 or 20,000, work on the deal that's going to pick you up double that amount of money just by putting in the extra effort to go out and make the offers, if that makes sense.
So just to reiterate what you're saying and to clarify so everybody could understand, because I get this out of 100 calls a day, 50%, 60%, I'm sure, Max, you'll agree with me also. Everybody's afraid to make the offers. Everybody's afraid, like, they're procrastinating. And in your book, it explains how not to procrastinate by making action. Making action is going out, making the offer. So just to clarify what you're saying so everybody could understand, Joe is saying, make the offers. You're looking for 70% ARV. If you're making 10 offers, hopefully the statistics will be that 1 or 2 will come back saying yes. The worst thing is you just back out of the deal if you don't feel comfortable. Am I right? But you got to go out there, take that massive action, give out the offers, because once they come back into you and the numbers look good, you're gonna start to make money and start to proceed to a closing and making money. But if nobody moves out there, nobody's gonna make money. And you were saying in the beginning of the conversation, and I know Joe very well, 10, 20 years ago, you were flat broke. I think maybe you told me you owed out $120,000, and you took a flight, you and your wife, to Florida to start buying properties, and yet you were negative 120 grand. I was in a similar situation years ago where, I don't know if everybody remembers, American Express Centurion Bank had an open checkbook. And I just took that and I started buying properties with that. My father killed me, but I started buying properties with that, and, made a lot of mistakes, but also I made a lot of money doing real estate too. So just everybody, to out there, you got to get it. If you want to go into real estate, you're here to learn, you're here to get advice, and having that resources and tools, but making many offers is only it's just going to increase your numbers to success.
No doubt. No doubt.
I'm sorry. I like to help the people just to clarify what you're saying, because everybody's looking,
Yeah, 100%. And if I may add even on top of that, because I think this is actually an important topic. Like you said, fear is usually what holds people back. What is the fear here of why you wouldn't place that offer? Well, the fear is, what happens if my offer gets accepted? What then? These are great problems to have, and we want to create these problems. Yeah. You want to be in a position, well, what happens if my offer gets accepted? Don't worry about it. We'll figure the rest out. We'll talk it through. Obviously, there's a lot of things you could do preliminarily to get pre-approved. No, you can close and have that confidence, but don't be afraid, because, I mean, Joe, have you ever sent in an offer that was accepted that you just couldn't close with because the numbers just ended up not making sense?
Yeah, there's been times like that, of course. Of course.
And if you notice,
say, whoops, no.
And what happens then if you got your offer submitted and it just doesn't work?
Well, you lost a little bit of time. That's it. You know what I mean?
But that's
time
exactly my point. Exactly my
point.
That's it. Right now, put your offers out there. Fail on the offer. It's okay, because if you sent out 3 of them, you got 2 accepted, and you're trying to figure it out, it's okay. The rest will work itself out. So I just wanted to give everyone that little peace of mind. Embrace the chaos. Don't push it off. It's great to have. These are good problems. Now, Joe, you talk about the secret sauce to becoming successful in real estate. You mentioned it in your book. You mentioned it when you speak. In fact, you went from 0 to 60 million in 6 years, which you just told us about. So now, how is it possible for other people that are listening right now? How could they do the same thing as you? How can they go from 0 to 60 in 6 years?
Okay. Well, the first thing, it's a step-by-step, slowly, like you're going to the gym and you're building your muscle very slowly. So things don't happen overnight. And like anything, the beginning is always the biggest struggle. You know what I mean? It's always putting all the pieces together on it. And the way you really do this is what it is. I'm going to tell you 2 things that are very important. One we touched on, and then the next. The first thing is, we don't buy anything unless our all in, that's the acquisition, the renovation, whatever it might be, is 70% of what the end value is going to be. All right. That would be rule number 1. If you stick to that rule, you won't lose money. Even in a recession, even if things start to turn sideways, you're always going to be okay. Rule number 2, and the next thing is, I really want you to listen to what deals we're talking about, but I want you to listen to this as if you had all the money in the world, you had access to all the money in the world, all right? Not, I'll never be able to do that. I wish I had the money to be able to do that. listen to me like you have all the access to all the money, because the truth is that you really do. All right. Part one of this is you're doing business with Marty and Max, right? And Express Capital Financing. Those guys are bringing 65, 70% to the table on your deals. Am I correct in that?
Closer to 90% of the project cost even.
Oh, really? All right. So it's even more. All right. So it's even more than that. All you have to do is go and get fill in the other piece. If you don't have $1, there isn't a property that I could look at right now that I would say, boy, I wish I had the money to do that deal. Because you could, a good deal, the other reason why the 70%, a good deal attracts the money. There's no doubt about it. There are a lot of people out there, private investors, private people that you know that have money right now. They're looking, and they always have money, looking to put them in deals. Imagine if those of you who are old enough to experience this as adult, we were in the Great Recession 10 years ago, how difficult it was to raise money. I was able to do it then. It's much easier to do it now. The stock market's unstable. People can invest with you, set up prop. They can invest through their IRAs. They have savings. They have other things that they're going to liquidate. And the right deal always attracts the money. All right. And that's a very, very important point to it. You bring in partners into your deals, private investors. And I hear all the time, I don't want partners. I just want to be on my own. I don't want partners. When I say partners, I'm talking about investment partners, not working partners. This is something where in all of the companies that we own, we set up a new LLC for every asset that we're going to acquire. All right, here's how we do it. You find the deal, right? We don't have to have $1 in the bank. You go find the deal, make the offer. The offer comes back, and yes, we have it. You go to you guys, Express Capital, for the front end of the financing, and you come on the back end, you go out to investors and say, this is the deal. Let's say it was $1 million deal right now, and I was talking to Max about doing this deal. I'd say, Max, I need $150,000. All right. You're going to be a partner with me. It's $1 million deal. I'm going to give you 15% of the deal. All right. It's a new limited liability company. You're going to own 15% of it. We're doing this one particular project. But not only are you going to own 15% of it, while your money's out, I'm going to pay you 5% interest on it, on your money. All right. There is nothing better to an investor than getting interest payment that first month you come through. It makes them, they're not antsy anymore. They're not, what's going on with the deal? We wire them the money every month. And not only that, Max, I'm going to personally guarantee to repay your $150,000. And here's what we're going to do. It's $1 million deal. We're going to do X and Y and Z, fix it up, reposition it. We're going to sell it for $1.3 million. You're going to get all of your money back. You've collected your interest during that time, and you're going to get 15% of that profit, or $45,000 profit. So figure at the end of that deal, you made $50,000, right?
How much did the investor put in?
Are you interested in doing another one? Every single time there, yes. All right.
Absolutely.
Every time. Then their brother wants in, their father wants in, their uncle wants in. We have using that formula, that non-greedy formula, where I'm not being greedy. I'm giving Max interest on his money. I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to pay him back, and I'm giving his proper percentage of the profits on it. And you come through and you do that one time, just once, the world is your oyster. And that's all you have to do. So, Max is my partner. He owns 15% of the limited liability company, but I own the other 85%. I'm in control. You with me? So we're partners in it, but he's not involved in the daily decision-making process. I don't have to come to him to say, hey, do you want to sell the property? Here's what it is. I get to make all the decisions. He puts his money in, and I guarantee his money. All right. I have done this 35 times in the last in 6 or 7 years. My son uses this exact formula to this very day. All right. So we retain the majority of it. We bring financing into it, and we bring private investment into it. And where do you find private investors? Granted, the first time is a little bit difficult sometimes to get it rolling. I would sit down and make a list, who's ever on this call, of 10 people you know who have money, and you just start to call them and say, hey, here's the deal. I want to invest in this project. I want you to invest in a project with me. Even if you don't have the deal yet, you can start calling and putting it in and say, Marty, if I was to bring you a real estate deal, would you be interested in partnering with me for a percentage of that deal? But the money you put in, I'm going to pay you interest on it at 5%, and I'm going to personally guarantee that you will get paid your money back. Are you interested if I find something?
Yep.
Yes, he is. And now you already got a little bit of interest. You get the deal, you bring the deal in, the money attracts to the deal. All right. I'm telling you guys, this is exactly to the T how we built this business that now did over $100 million in assets in a decade. You know, just from I work out of my house.
So I just want to clarify with everybody again, what Joe is saying, even now on a smaller scale for the newbies, for experienced people who are doing fix and flipping or anything on multifamily, whatever you're looking to do in investing, what he's just to, add to what he's saying, if you don't have all the equity, if you don't have all the deposit, reach out to family, reach out to friends. If the deal is good, give them something, because 50 or 60 or 70% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So even when I did my deals, I'll just add to it, everybody on here, yeah, I would sometimes do a deal 50-50 because they came up with all the equity. I'd rather make 50% of 100 grand and no money in, because I know the deal, I'm controlling the deal, and I made some money. And that guy's going to trust me on the next 10 deals. And now I could ask for less leverage from him because I'm more experienced, or I should say I got more experience. And now I could, manipulate the deal some more. So that's how Joe got to a level of 60 million and 100 million. I'm assuming you use other people's money for the deposit or for the equity, whether it's friends, family. And you know what? For the people who don't know, have friends or family, find them. I mean, if you're hungry enough, you're going to find a solution. That is the way to your success. Nobody's going to spoon feed it to you. You got to find the solution. How do I get myself 20 grand? How do I get myself 100 grand to complete a deal? Look, I needed to raise money for my company, and I looked for solutions and banks and this, and that, and the other to give me the capital and the debt that I needed. And it took me time, but I got it. And that's what it's all about to being successful. So I just want to clarify, if you don't mind, Joe.
Absolutely, no doubt. I got it. And I should have said, that same formula works just as well on $100,000 single family.
Yeah,
it works exactly 100%. The same way.
100%.
Right?
And you know what?
Yep. And you know what? If you don't got friends or family and you can't find it, how about your own personal home, a HELOC, 5-6%? Borrow that for your equity to get started. Like I said, I did it with American Express Centurion Bank back in the 90s. But whatever it is, find the money. You could do the deal. Of course, if you need the money. But
endless answers where you could find money. And I'll give you guys another one. The chat box right below. Tell people what you're doing. There's endless networking. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to events and somebody said, wow, my first event, I met this one or that one, and now I'm partners in 6 or 7 deals. So you never know where you're going to meet that person. You never know where it's going to come from. But if you live it and you do it every day consistently, I can guarantee you will end up surrounding your people with like-minded people who are interested in doing deals with you. So just surround yourself in real estate. Go to these networking events, webinars. There's never enough people you can meet. It's not who you know. It's not what you know. It's who you know.
And I just want to add to everybody on here, my company, Express Capital, we have a list of third-party providers, title insurance, lawyers, gap funders, people that have money, just personal individuals who don't even have the time to find properties or, to sit there and do real estate. So we have people with capital. We got people with deals who don't got the money. We'll make that introduction. We'll make it what you call in Jewish a shidduch, make the match, get it going. And that's what it's all about. Like Max said, it's not what you know, it's whom you know, because networking is an opportunity to grow.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. So I guess let's go back a little bit towards, I have one more question for you, Joe, that's maybe a little bit, last time we spoke, you mentioned a couple of your asset classes that were your favorite. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was self-storage, multifamily, and I think you also mentioned, there was one more, it's slipping my mind right now.
Mobile home parks.
Mobile home parks, yes, there you go. So are those still your top three, or has anything changed since the last time we spoke due to the markets or anything like that?
Nothing has changed on that. Those would be my top three, and in that particular order. Still, we have a couple of things to give you a scope of it. We have about 2,000 tenants. All right, and in the self-storage assets and the RVs, and even in the apartments, we barely skipped a beat as far as rent collection is concerned. So everybody, you know, you have some problems, of course. The things really to stay away from now, really, really stay away from retail and office. I mean, we don't know where that's heading at this point. You know, Amazon already was ruling the world before. I mean, now it's even more solid. Everybody in this call's got Amazon delivering something to their house today. It's really, I mean, stay away from retail. They're going to have to find a way to repurpose those properties at some point, because that's really, except for services, that's really, really a tough market. And office is going to be as well. Everybody can work right from home. Everybody's on the sitting here in a Zoom. You telecommute. You don't even have to bother going in anymore. So I would stay away from office as well. Places where I think you should buy, and this goes for single families, 1 to 4 families, any sort of asset class, really. I think Marty hit on it before, the suburbs. All right. I'm here in the New Jersey Shore, and I can tell you what's going on. The exodus of sellers coming out of the city down to the Jersey Shore and other places is mind-boggling. Give you an example. A friend of ours who owns a nice upscale house put it up for sale last Friday for $2 million. Over the weekend, they had 21 showings and 6 offers. I mean, this is what you're talking about going on at the Jersey Shore. That would hold true. My sister-in-law, who's a residential realtor here in Monmouth County, told me that people are making offers on homes sight unseen right now, just because they need it so bad. So the suburbs is the move now. We had the migration back to the city, but I go to the suburbs. I mean, wherever you might be in Suffolk, Jersey Shore, Suffolk County, Long Island, Sussex County in New Jersey, Westchester, anywhere I think that's commutable within an hour and a half or so. So if someone's got to get into the city they got to go in once or twice a week going forward, it's still a good spot for them. So I would go there, especially on the flips. As far as the holds, like if you look at the bill residual income and you're not flipping, you can really almost do that anywhere. I particularly like Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, the Carolinas, those kind of places. You get a lot more bang for your buck down there. The competition isn't nearly as strong as it is in this area. So anyway, but it can work everywhere. Stay away from retail office and think about where people are migrating to, because that's a spot you want to hit. So
100%. And one of my little tricks, or I guess ways that I think, is that when I invest in the suburbs, it's easier for a property to increase in value from 100,000 to 150 than it is to take $1 million property and turn it into 1.5. Right. So there's a lot more growth. There's a lot more growth opportunity in suburbs. You'll see it, back when, New York was big, when Queens grew at exponential rates as opposed to Manhattan, because it's outside the city. There's a lot of room for it to grow, and it will grow because there's something that it's holding on to. So another reason why, a lot of people are going to the suburbs, in my opinion, and why I like them. Guys, we're getting a lot of questions in, and we're going to attend to them very shortly. I don't want you guys to think we're ignoring it. We're going to get to it right after this last one. So I'm just going to ask Joe, if you could just tell us a little bit about, where we could get in touch with you, how we could find you, and of course also about your new book. I'd love to hear more what it's about, where we could get it, and how I could read it myself.
All right, that sounds good. Before that, I'm going to put together, over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to put together a guide, a 10, 12-page guide, kind of on what we're talking about, because it's difficult to talk through this, and there's so many different points. A guide, maybe something called How to Become a Millionaire in Real Estate. Simple, 10 or 12 pages. So if step by step, the actual written formula, I can show you guys some of the forms that we use, what we use to give to an investor, to a lender, what we use to make offers with, make it very, very simple. So if you guys want access to that. I'm going to put it together, give it to you for free. I'm not interested in making, this is my give back time in life here. So it's not something where I'm looking to want you to pay me for it or we're going to upsell you. Just send an email over, go to our website, which is successcornerstone.com, or send an email to info@successcornerstone.com and just tell them that you want the real estate guide when it's ready. I'm anticipating releasing it July 15th. So I'll send it over and everybody will be able to go through that in detail. Then if you have questions, you can let me know. But it would be very, very helpful for you to see the exact formula that we used on it. And then as far as the book is concerned, The Foundation of a Successful Life, I wrote this. My daughter and I, Erica, wrote this together. And this is kind of, I know Marty was showing you before, but this is the accumulation of me learning everything I could possibly learn about personal development and self-help and self-improvement over the last 40 years. And the things that I've used in my life to it's not only business to become successful, but really life in general. We call it the foundation of a successful life. It touches on many points that are would help anybody. I mean, really, it could be life-changing if it's the right time in your life. You can go over and get that also at successcornerstone.com. You can go to our website, excuse me, to get it, or you can just go to Amazon and get it. I highly recommend the reading. It's my favorite book after I've had this book. Someone gave me a copy of I was fortunate enough, someone gave me a copy of Think and Grow Rich when I was 20 years old. Here it is, 40 years later.
That was like 5 years ago?
Yeah, right. 40 years later, I still have this on my desk, but this is my Bible on becoming successful. And I read it constantly, and our book is very, very similar. I'm not going to say I'm Napoleon Hill, but it's a very, very, very good book. I think you get a lot out of it. You're also, we also have a course that we put together that goes with the book that could take you week by week, chapter by chapter through the book, with taking actual action steps in there, which I think would be very, very helpful for people. The course you won't see anywhere. It's not available out to the public. We're only doing that through a corporate partnership program whereby companies will sponsor their employees or customer base or affiliates to go online and be able to take the course. As a matter of fact, Max and Marty these are really, really great guys. I hope you guys are doing a lot of business with them because they're one of the first 5 or 6 people that are going to get started with this for us. So they're actually footing the bill for you to go in and take a course, a really great online course that's, anyway, terrific of them and will help you become more successful in your life. So if you guys want that how to become a millionaire in real estate guide, just go over to the website again, successcornerstone.com. Be happy to send you out that. If you want to get the book, wonderful. If not, that's wonderful too. I'm glad that we got to spend this time together. So
absolutely.
I just like to add, this is not a quick scheme type of thing. Like you said, he's offering his help, his advice, his 10-page document on how everybody can start, continue to be, to grow, to scale to create wealth in real estate. So I just want to add, he's not correct me if I'm wrong, you're not charging anything, you're giving it away. And like I said at the beginning of this webinar, it's about giving back to the public to help people out. Is when you get you get good luck, you get good things happening with you and for you.
The law of reciprocity.
There's no doubt about that. I never turned down the opportunity to do someone a favor, and my goal in life to make as many people successful as they can possibly be. Over the next whatever I'm going to be doing this for 10 years. So we're just going to send us an email, give us your email address. We'll shoot you a PDF of the guide as soon as it's done, which is July 15th is the anticipated date.
So repeat back the sales the website domain.
The domain is successcornerstone.com.
And by the way, everybody, it's in his book also. But yes, that's what he's saying to you to get it over there.
And we're going to email it to everybody as well, so you'll have it. So if you missed it just now, you'll have it in an email tomorrow with all the information, where you can get the book, where you can find his guides and everything else. So I'm going to start opening up for question and answer. So I'm going to go back a little bit because we've gotten some questions in before, so I want to attend to those. Anyone else who has questions, start letting them come in. I'll get to them, and we'll make sure that we attend to everyone's questions. So the first one that came in from Tom was, what if I'm working through an agent and I don't have the resources to get discounted properties? So, Dad, I guess, do you want to take that one?
Well, like I was saying before, discounted properties, it's up to you, the individual, to find them, but they're out there. Whether it's today's world of Craigslist, Hubzu, Auction.com, Realty Track, Property Shark, but even knocking on doors, the old-fashioned way, knocking on doors. I tell my investors, you're home for 4 months. You have a list of 100 or 200 or 300 people that you called 6 months ago. Chances are today they're more desperate than ever, but they're not going to remember your name. Door knocking, cold calling. People want to sell now. They want to downgrade. They need to clear up their mortgage. And I tell people also that one of their sensitive issues is their credit. Everybody hates to ruin their credit. So, tell the sellers, hey, if you don't want to ruin your credit, you don't want to go into foreclosure, I'm here to help you. So that's how you could find discounted prices. They're just out there.
For sure. And just to add a couple of other things that we mentioned before, there's ways that you could go to auction properties without leaving your house. You have Hubzu, auction.com. There's so many different websites for that. And I noticed, Tom, also you mentioned later, what if making discounted offers through the agent? Now, it's really important that you speak to your agent before you select who you're working with. The same way, you're not going to just choose any contractor to do your work on your own primary house. You're going to want to see something that they've done, know what they're into. Is this your specialty? Same thing with agents. Hey, do you specialize in selling primary residential homes to people, or do you specialize in helping investors like myself? If they specialize with investors, they are going to understand your needs and wants, and they're going to know what it takes to get you a deal. So don't be afraid that, oh, my offer is too low. They're not going to like it. They're going to be offended. Don't worry. The game is to just put the offer in, see what happens. If it gets accepted, beautiful. If it doesn't get accepted, it's, at least you tried to help, and at least you tried to do something. So don't feel bad. Make your offers, work with your agent, tell them what you're looking for. I'm sure they may even have sources for you. Like my father was just saying, whether it's for sale by owners that you could call. So there's so many different sources. Get creative, look out there, network with people. You have wholesalers that just go ahead and just prospect all day so that they can bring these tables to your table without you doing anything. So if you have a 9 to 5, you're too busy, you have another business going on and you can't prospect all day, find wholesalers that you can make close relationships with. And once they see that you start buying properties from them, they're going to keep you in their Rolodex, and they're going to want to reach out to you. They're going to need you for those next deals. And they're going to actually call you before they hit the market. Hey, I'm going to see a property today in East Orange. It's probably going to be for about 150. Is that something that you're interested in? Is that in your box? And you'll see right away that they're going to reach out to you more and more often. So, and I think that you wanted to add something else as well. I think he froze.
I'll add to that, Max. And also, another great resource is local banks, your smaller banks. You give them a call and tell them you're an investor. I'm interested in buying some properties. If you guys have anything, let me know. And that works a lot. I mean, I had several banks in Florida that every time that they got a new deal, another property coming down the pike, they would call us because they knew we would close on it. So another way to do that is go out to the local bank, start to establish a rapport. And the way you do that, pick up the phone and call them. Everybody sends an email. I know I'm old, so you guys are all email guys, but there's nothing better than the personal touch of seeing someone in face to face. Right now, obviously, we can't do that. Pick up the phone and call them and explain what you are. I mean, and who you are and what you're looking to do. And I mean, it makes a big difference as opposed to just sending an email to somebody.
100% agreed. No matter how much we advance as people, I think phone to phone will always be the #1 source of business. I can't tell you how much it's done for me. I started my real estate companies with just a phone. That's all you need in all realisticness. Go ahead.
So I just want to add, Max, also on our website, we have the referral connections. We're connected with roofstop.com and also Real Estate IQ. If they go to our website, Express Capital Financing, they can find some third-party referral partners out there that have great website or phone apps to do comps, to find properties. What else does it do, Max? I'm not sure, but this is a way to generate more leads.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. So Real Estate IQ is a way where you could go log in and they have many different sources of leads. So depending on what you like to do, what your niche is, you could actually specify that and choose that kind of a list and get your leads. It also has many different ways of running comps for you. So it can be a little bit simpler, make your day a little bit easier. We have Roofstock, which is a big nationwide MLS for wholesale type properties, discounted properties. So you could check them out as well. There is an endless source of deals, and there are hundreds of thousands of people out there doing deals every day. You know,
And,
there's no reason why you can't find a deal today.
and even if you're not finding a discounted deal, it doesn't mean it's not a good deal. So don't be the new person in the business trying to get the best deal out there and thinking you're going to be a guru by doing a discounted deal and finding $100,000 profit. It may be a retail deal, like Max said. It could be from a wholesaler. As long as it's a deal to be had and a good lender, a relationship lender that's looking to build and have that relationship with their client and investors, are not going to be lending you on a negative, bad deal. So a good lender is not going to be predatory, take the deal away from you. We're not, a lender is going to make sure that you, the investor, are successful, profiting. Why? Because we want to get paid back our money. Right, Joe? Lenders want their money
Absolutely.
back.
Yep.
So, and that's a good second set of eyes for you to make sure that the deal is good. So don't be afraid, get into the business, give your offers out. And I want to mention also, besides cold calling and door knocking, even, what do you call that, postcard mailing, Max? What do you call that?
The yellow letters, as
Yellow
they call them.
letters, whatever it may be, banners, putting signs on the grass. Even I have a guy who's putting these signs on lampposts all over in Jersey, Joe. I see them all over on the lawns. We're buying ugly houses, and call us for all. I'm an all cash buyer. You want leads coming to you? That's a great way. And again, you got to think, guys. You got to think. You got to be creative so you can come to a solution.
Well put.
There's no doubt about that. There's a lot going on. Check it out. See what other people are doing. I'm sure we're not reinventing the wheel, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
The wheel is already created. All you got to do is put it into action. So now our next question came in from Simone. So she said she's interested in buying a multifamily home using an equity from her condo. Now her mortgage guy is saying that I have to move into the multifamily because it has to be my primary residence. Is there a way around this, meaning a way that I won't have to move into the property, but still put down 3 to 5% down? So I guess I could take this one. So Simone, the answer is if you are doing a 203K or FHA loan or anything of that sort, which does give you that benefit of doing 3 to 5% down, that is the only way that you're going to get that, because that is the government pretty much backing it up and giving it to you. The government wants to condone people to own primary residences. This is great for us as investors to know, because you can now explain this to people who may not have known that they could own their own primary residence, and you might be selling them that same single family house that you just flipped. So the answer is no, you can't get into a property with 3 to 5% down if it's not a primary. But the only way you can is what Joe said. And Joe, if you want to say it, you could say it again. Leverage other people's money.
Absolutely. You don't need a dollar of your own money. You need a relationship with your lender. Would you guys have a relationship with Max and Marty? You need somebody else, another person or two. We pulled together deals at the beginning where I had 7 or 8 people putting in $20,000 or something, anything to piecemeal it together to get it to the closing table. So, so you don't need to have the one guy with $500,000. You can get a bunch of people at 20 or 30,000. They can use their IRAs, self-directed IRAs. I mean, we did a lot of that. Too. We still have a whole bunch of them because those people never wanted their money back. They just keep rolling it back into new projects all the time. So
yeah, we did actually a webinar. If anyone wants to go back and check it out, it's on our website. It's on YouTube. We did a webinar with Advanta IRA where we actually went into details of how that's possible and what that looks like. And I mean, honestly, if you ask me, the ability to not pay those taxes and use it to reinvest my money and pay it off when I'm done is huge, because this entire conversation we had today is all about leverage. We talked about leveraging money. We talked about leveraging people. So why not be able to leverage your investors to do more deals or assets? Exactly. So now we got another question here from Michelle, and this one actually is for you, Joe. So on the self-storage, do you buy existing self-storage or do you buy properties and then build your self-storage facility?
we bought existing self-storage facilities always. A lot of times we bought the self-storage facility with additional land so we could actually expand it. So we bought a lot of mom and pop type of self-storage facilities, kind of attitude where they had a sign hanging on the window, hey, if you want to rent a unit, call this number. Nobody was on site. Bought a lot of mom and pops, existing facilities, and the answer is, and then ran it like a real business where someone's always there Monday to Friday, answer the phone after hours. You bring U-Haul in. U-Haul brings a lot more foot traffic. You make commissions on leasing their stuff. We have auctions. You help people auction their stuff out of their storage unit. I mean, that brings more foot traffic in. It really is an amazingly good business. And if you need to have the eviction process, I mean, it's as simple as you put an overlock on their unit after they don't pay for 5 days. If they don't pay for 30 days, you send them a certified letter, and then you auction off their stuff. I mean, it's an amazing business. So,
and if I could just add, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, you're looking at building an add value, somebody that's mismanaging the property and you want to do add value. So you're buying low. And again, you're bringing it up to par and even a better ROI. And then either your strategy is to sell or keep, I'm not sure, but that's why Joe is buying existing. Am I correct?
We're buying existing. We've done 15, 16 self-storage deals. Not one of them has been from the ground up.
And
No.
what are you buying? Like 20 cents on the dot? Like what would you say the discounted price is on a mismanaged property? Like 30% off the
about that. We need to be at the 70% of its end value mark. So yeah, you're usually buying, down south, if you're Florida, Georgia, those kind of places, you can actually pick these up bargains, and that's why I like that market under $50 a square foot existing, which is wonderful. When you're building new, it costs us about $40 a square foot to build new.
and the average price on a purchase on a self-storage, I'm sure, is in the millions.
It's in the millions, yeah.
In the millions, right.
Yeah. We might have bought the first one for $1.3 million and repositioned it and sold it for $2 million. And then a bunch of them we kept, and but they produce wonderful cash flow. When I think about it, it's a lot of people paying you tiny little bits of amount of money. So when you have that, you also lessen your risk substantially because it's not one or two big tenants that default on you. You've got all these different people paying. It's really a good business.
And there's no toilets to clean and no property manager and all that. It's just
once in a while, a garage door goes off the track. I mean, that's about what you're dealing with, so. Okay. And you have someone that stays on site. We always, if it didn't have it, we'll build an apartment. But most of them have an office, and then you build the apartment right on top of the office, and someone lives there all the time. You give them rent free. They get to stay there for free, but they got to manage the place. You don't have to pay them a real lot. They've got free rent. You pay them $25,000-$30,000 a year, and they're happy. They get a free place, and it works out wonderfully for us.
And I just want to add, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not in that industry, but it would be ever more so popular now because of people downsizing that they may need to store, or maybe somebody's parent or loved one died and they want to store their goods in there. So it's ever more popular now during this pandemic, whether it's death, downsizing, upgrading, whatever it may be.
Multi-generational family moving together and they throw out their stuff. It's astonishing. It's astonishing what people have.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
What's the next question, Max?
So we got a question from Rafi. What are things I need to look for when I'm buying a house and a seller does not have a full CO? So I'm assuming you mean a certificate of occupancy. So, I mean, honestly, Dad, you want to take this one or you want me to answer it?
Take it, because I wasn't on it.
No problem. So, I mean, most of the time, if you're buying a property that doesn't have a CO, you're going to be doing it with hard money. It's probably a flip. It's probably a fix-it, rehab, refinance, rent refinance. So in those cases, you're usually doing hard money where we're not looking for a CO, so we'll still lend on those properties. So obviously, I mean, you'd probably want to know what's wrong with the house, why it doesn't have one, so you could correct that and know what that cost would be. But as far as not having one, most hard money deals don't have a CO when they're purchased. So now, first off, Mike, thanks for all the your communication in the chat box and talk with everyone. It's really good to see people networking. He seems to say that he gets a lot of success out of knocking on doors. I don't doubt that. That's one of the #1 and original ways of doing business, and I would keep doing that. What are my risks if I do buy a temp CO? Rafi, if you don't mind maybe clarifying a little bit of your question, maybe, so I can answer it better for you. And yes, we do have an Instagram. You could find us at Express Capital Financing, one word. Joe, do you happen to have an Instagram they could find you on?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, it's okay. I just figured I'd ask. We got another question now from James. When does the repayment of financing begin? When you close on a single family home that you are planning to fix and flip, what happens if it takes time to sell? So James wants to understand, when does he start making payments? How does that work? That, if you don't mind explaining that a little bit more in detail.
So yeah, hard money, it's short term. It's typically 12 months interest only. So you as the investor, you are paying a monthly payment. It is for 12 months. My company, we do a 0% extension fee. So if any time the client, the investor needs a 3-month extension or a 6-month extension, typically lenders will charge a 1% of the balance, whatever you owe, or I should say the loan amount. So if you have a $300,000 loan, typically you're paying that lender $3,000. With us, we have a 0% extension fee, but however, your payments are paid monthly. And whenever you pay it off, you're just paying off. It's the principal. It's always the principal of what you owe. So that's about that. Also, we're a lender, just to add, we do the permanent financing. So we're a short-term lender. We're actually non-bank mortgage lending. So we're not credit sensitive. No financials are required. Still providing decent leverage during mid-COVID for any city, any state, any property. The only thing my company does not do, folks, is a primary home. So if you need help with a primary property, give us a call. We'll connect you with some local mortgage bankers or brokers. I shouldn't say local. Yeah, local in our area, but they could do nationwide if you need help with the financing on that for your primary home.
Absolutely. And also, let's not forget, there's 2 new programs that Express Capital Financing is about to bring to the table. We're starting to do transactional funding. So for those of you who are looking to do wholesale and are afraid of what's going to happen if you have to do a double close and you don't have the funds for it, you can reach out to Express Capital Financing and we'll do a double close for you, which means that you're borrowing the money for 24 hours to close on the property. You have your buyer lined up and you're going to close that day or the next day. Keep in mind, guys, there is no interest on this. It's just an origination that you would pay. So that's something to keep in mind for those of you who are looking to wholesale properties, or even if you're an investor and you have a deal and you just want to be able to, flip it to the next guy because you maybe have too many projects you're working on right now. So keep that in the back in your toolbox and let you know that you have it available. The next thing that we want to also talk about is that we're going to be offering 100% financing to those experienced investors who are looking to do more and more deals. At Express Capital Financing, our #1 thing is scaling your business. We want to help you grow. If you're not growing, if we can't help put you in a better situation than where we found you, we're not going to do anything. And we want to help you grow by offering more value, more leverage, that you could do more deals. If you could show that you have a track record, like Joe said, the more of a track record you have, the easier this business gets for you. So if you can show that you've done, 5, 10, 20, 30 previous deals, you have a decent credit score, we'd be happy to look at 100% financing for you. You could reach out to any of your loan officers and you'll see an email about that tonight as well.
So,
go ahead.
So like Joe was saying, it's about finding the equity. It's about finding the money. And here is a place now that you can find it. We could be your equity partner, not just your debt capital. We could be your equity partner as long as the deal, makes sense. What we're looking for is profitability, your success. You profit, we get paid back our money. And that's just to let you know, that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely. And I'm going to allow, before we take off, I know we've already been here for about an hour. I know everyone's getting a little bit jumpy, but I do want to give Rafi a chance to at least ask his question. He raised his hand. So Rafi, I'm about to allow you to talk, and then I guess we'll go for the night.
Yeah, you can hear me?
We hear you, Rafi. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How you doing?
We're doing awesome. Thank you for being here.
So my question was about the CO, because I'm trying to buy a house here in Irvington, and the seller's telling me that he don't have the full CO. He could just get a temp, So I asked him why, because the house is basically rent ready. Is don't need no repairs or nothing according to him. And I saw the house, and it looks like it don't need nothing. So his reason for not having the full CO is because he's trying to do a quick close. So, like, does that sound funny, or is that actually like a real thing?
So, well, obviously you'll know if he has a CO or not because that'll show. So if he just doesn't have one, I mean, there you probably would want to get an inspection either by, depending on, you said this is in Irvington. I believe that happens through the county where they'll come by. The fire department will just will run by and give you a CO. But if they are buying it, if you are buying it without the CO and for that reason you're getting a discount, you probably are going to want to buy it through hard money and then transfer out. Because you probably, depending on the situation and what's holding it back from getting you the CO, you may not be able to do that in time to get a permanent financing mortgage. And I think Martin wanted to add something as well.
So what city is it in? I know it's Jersey, but what city?
Is it in Irvington?
Okay, I believe, I'm not too sure. Irvington doesn't do a C of O. They do a green card. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't heard of a green card.
So, yeah, it's called a green card. Look into that. It's very similar to a C of O, but without all the C of O ramifications. But just like Max was saying, when it comes to hard money, we're not looking at that. If you're looking for the permanent financing, a green card or a C of O does have to be, before closing. Usually your title would also pick that up too. Am I right, Joe?
Title would pick it up, right? They're going to want to see that, or your attorney, is going to wind up picking this up too. So.
Right.
Okay.
Are you purchasing this, Ralphie, or is that what you're looking to do?
Yeah, I'm trying to purchase it for like an investment property to rent out.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so you'll be, either way, you'll be protected either from your attorney or from title. But look into the green card. I believe that's what's entailed in that particular city, county or something.
Okay, thank you so much, Oz.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Rafi. And honestly, thank you everyone so much for coming here tonight. We really did appreciate it. I know I had a lot of fun talking with everyone here and at least getting to know everyone and give over more education information. That's always what we're here for. It's the more we can educate you as buyers and as investors, the better it is for everybody involved, because we're all going to be doing better deals, making more money together. And I'm just excited for all of it. I know 2020 some people may feel it's been a long or short year, but I know that there's a lot more to come in that second half of 2020, and there's going to be a lot of money for everyone to make. So thank you all so much for coming. We do appreciate it. And I'll let you finish off before.
Well, just for anybody looking for any information, they want to run deals by us, you have any questions, our main office number is 718-285-0806. Again, 718-285-0806. Our domain name is expresscapitalfinancing.com. So if you have any deals, you're not sure, you want not just terms, rate, and leverage, but run the deals by us. Before you put a hardcore deposit, give us a call. We'll guide you every step of the way. And again, if you need title, insurance, lawyer, a gap funder, some investors that we know, or maybe you got the money and we have investors who got deals, give us a call. We'll make that connection with you and for you. Anything else? Oh, one more thing. We're looking to hire loan officers in New York and New Jersey. So if anybody has any experience, whether in real estate or with financing, give us a call. Again, 718-285-0806. Ask for me and Max, and we'll discuss that sales position on the phone. Thank you, everyone, for your time. If you have any questions, call up Joe, email us. We're here to help and guide everybody here.
Absolutely, guys. Happy hunting and happy investing.
Joe, thank you much as always.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure.
God bless. God bless.
Have a great night.
Okay, bye-bye.